Y'all, everyone's making craft cutters these days. We have another unboxing to do. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Patrice. If this is your first time here, thanks so much for being here. Please check out the other content and my other social medias. And if you enjoy it here, please be sure to like and subscribe for my returning subscribers and members. Hey y'all, welcome back. So HTV Ront or Loklik sent me their latest cutter. So shout out to HTV Ront for providing me with their cutter so that I could try this out. And thank you so much also for sponsoring this video so that we can see what this cutter is all about. Now today's video is simply an unboxing. I have not had a chance to really use it to give a very well educated review on it, but we are going to open it up, see if it's easy to use. We're also going to check out their software, and we're going to cut some flock. Y'all know that that has to be the very first thing that I try with our new machine because that's what I love cutting. I love cutting flock. So let's get ready to unbox this. This is a 12-inch wide cutter, and for the most part, it looks fairly simple to use. Now we're ready to open up our new Loklik cutting machine, and it comes in a few different colors. We received the turquoise blue color, but there are several other colors that it comes in, and it looks to be packaged as it should. At the top is our instruction manual, and we will look at that a little bit later. Now we're just going to take this out of the box, and here is the machine. Let's go ahead and get it unpackaged. It does look very familiar to other cutting machines, and this machine can cut up to 12 inches wide. So y'all know I want to definitely test out some rhinestone flock. I'm just making sure to remove all the tape from on the machine. Make sure you do that and open it up and remove the cardboard from inside. We'll look at some of these materials a little bit later, but nonetheless our machine looks pretty good, and we're going to get ready to get this plugged up. The ports are at the bottom, which it took me a little bit of time to find it, but nonetheless I found it, and we're all set and ready to go. Alright guys, so here's the machine. It's opened, and there is like nothing to like keep it up except the lid. So that's what will keep it closed, and to open it you just pull it up. Now we're going to get ready to power this on. So while that's warming up, this is the power button. This is if you need to pause it. This is to load or unload your cutting mats, and of course this is to start your cut. So let's get ready to load our housing and blades. And again, it comes with a 45-degree blade, which is the red tipped blade, and it also comes with two 60-degree blades, which cuts thicker materials. So red, thinner materials, blue, thicker materials. I can't wait to try the blue out with rhinestone flock, and also the red with rhinestone flock. And this is our housing, or the blade holder. So the red cap is where the blade is. The cap protects the blade, and we are simply going to remove the red cap, and we are going to place it inside of the housing. I'm just going to, and I'm holding the bottom in like that so that it can drop in, and then here we go, it's there. So this is going to go here. There is a lever on the side that you just kind of pull. We're going to drop that in there, and then we're going to tighten it back up. So now it's nice and secure in there. All right, guys, so the one thing that's important when you're using a new machine and material, even if you're very familiar with the material, is that you need to test cut those materials, all materials. Okay, every test setting is different, or every cut setting is different depending on the machine, depending on how old the machine is, how old the blade is. So you want to make sure you test cutting your materials, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm test cutting the flock just to see, what will work. So I'm not really giving you guys the settings because a lot of the settings that I tried did not work, and I had to do a lot of different test settings. So once I have it mastered, I will definitely let you all know what works best for me with using the Loklik cutting machine. All right, guys, so since that last test cut setting worked well, we're going to use it now to cut our design. We are inside of the Loklik Idea Studio, and I really think that this software probably works best on a Windows-based computer. I'm using a Mac computer, and honestly, I just don't really like it. I don't really like the software, but of course that it's something new, and so I do need to take the time out to actually learn it. So I imported the design that we're going to be test cutting today, and we need to go ahead and get ready to ungroup the design. It imported in at the correct size, which I was really impressed with and happy with that it did import as the correct size. However, we do need to go ahead and ungroup it so that this is not all cut as one design, okay? Because we want the orange to cut separately, and then we also want the black to cut separately so we can layer it. And right now I'm just in the system and setting up the cut settings, and the cut settings that we're using is a force of 11 and a speed of 9 and a pass of 1. So it looks like that's pretty much maxed out, but I want you guys to see once we get to the cut that it actually did not cut out as we wanted it to cut. Right now I realized that I needed to go back and actually ungroup the design on the canvas, that I did not have it set up to be cut based on colors. So we are just going to go ahead and move the black off of the canvas, and we're going to cut each part individually. Again, our cut settings are going to be the same: force 11, speed of 9, pass of 1. And this worked great for the small heart that I did, but eventually it did not work really well for this particular cut. Now I'm ready to load our machine with the material, and this is pretty much how it will look. It also gives a countdown so you'll know exactly how long your project is taking if you need that type of record. But nonetheless, we're ready to load our machine up with the flock, and this is Rocket Flock from Heat Transfer Warehouse, and we are using those settings that work pretty well for the heart, and we'll see how it turns out for this part of the design. All right, guys, so that took 15 minutes and 44 seconds. So we're going to unload it, and hopefully it cut. I can see the holes. I can feel them, so that might be a good thing. I'm just going to flip our hair mat over, and let's see how it cut. So I do have one that's lifting up a little bit right there. You can see it. So let's see how it cut. It cut, but it looks like I am going to have to manually remove some of them. So I'm going to play around with the settings a little bit more. If you have the rhinestone flock, I wouldn't recommend you do what I'm going to do next. This only worked with the old rhinestone flock, the backing, because this new backing can't take this. Right, so I'm going to change the pressure and maybe do another test cut to see if 2 passes will work best. All right, guys, so this time I'm going to test out the new Rocket Flock, and we're going to use a force of 7. The speed's going to be 9, and we're going to do 2 passes. All right, let's see how this cut. So I'm just gonna flip it over. This is still the new, uh-oh, it cut too good. And that's at 2 passes. So let me try to take this off as as possible. All right. So I don't know if the backing is just so thin and frail and it just sticks onto the cutting mat. That's happened with other cuts for me before. Let's go. Okay, so that's looking decent. But let's look at that back. So I don't feel any indentation here. So I don't know if it's just because that backing was, it just stuck to the cutting mat. But that didn't come out too bad. So I went ahead and cut out the next part of the design with those settings that we just saw. And those settings worked really well. I'm really pleased with this cut. Most of those rhinestone flock dots stayed behind on the backing, and so of course that's always a win. As y'all see, that backing, the new backing, is super sticky and it sticks to the cutting mats, which is super annoying, but nonetheless I just picked off the ones that I needed to pick off and we were set to go. Of course, I'm using rhinestones from the baby's booty, and if you would like to see how I actually get this done, I do have several other videos where I'm blinging and doing rhinestoning, and so I pretty much sped up through this because we've seen this before, and the focus is really the cutting machine. But nonetheless, I'm using rhinestones from Hot Fix rhinestones from the baby's booty, and I'm just going to go ahead and brush in the 2 different parts that we cut out. And y'all, this turned out really good. Those brushed in really fine. So that's always a bonus when you're cutting your flock. You want to make sure that your stones brush in and you don't have a difficult time. So now we're just placing this onto a tote bag, and of course I had to lint roll and preheat the tote bag before placing the rhinestone transfer on top. And now we're going to place the first part of the design on, and we're pressing this at 350 degrees for 15 seconds. And let's get ready. That looks beautiful. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with this particular cut, but we definitely need to test this machine a lot more with not just rhinestone flock, but with other materials as well, to see how it cuts. And y'all, I got to get used to at least using the software a little bit more. But this looks so cute. I absolutely love how they came out. All right, y'all. So we are all done with unboxing and testing it out today, and I must say that for a budget cutter, I would consider this to be like a budget cutter. And for a budget cutter, I think that it's pretty decent. The only thing that I really did not care much for as far as the initial unboxing is the software. It seems as though it's made for Windows-based computers, not really Mac friendly. I just got to play around with it a little bit more. I was expecting something a little more easier to use. However, I mean, it wasn't really difficult to use. You import things without, one way, but I need to use it a little bit more so that I can make a fair assessment of it. Also, make sure when you're getting new cutters, make sure you test out your material. Every cutter is different. And so you don't want to just think that, everything's going to cut the same exact way it cuts on another cutter. So definitely check out your cut settings and everything. But for the most part, for a budget cutter, I would say that this is a good buy, especially for me who likes to cut a lot of flock, and for my smaller flock projects or rhinestone projects. I think this is something that I would like, to have just to be able to use for that. It can totally help in that area when I'm cutting flock. So of course I need to test out some other materials, so be on the lookout for that. Again, thank you to HTV Romp for providing me with the Loklik machine. I've had it for months, y'all. I've had it for months, and I'm just getting around to actually testing it out and seeing how it works. But for the most part, it was super easy to set up. really easy to set up. Honestly, you didn't have to overthink anything, and I actually set this up without even looking at the directions. But that's pretty much it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to head over to Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok and join the Craftable Things communities there as well. If you are interested in getting you your own Loklik machine, I will have a link listed below in the description. I do plan on showing how to cut other materials like puff vinyl, HTV, cardstock, and that sort of thing with this machine. I want to see how that goes. But that's it for today, y'all. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time.